Okay, back on track. So new project. I'm just gonna go down to print letter size. That goes 8.5 by 11 and 300 dpi. I'm gonna set the background to transparent and click create. So so I don't know if you remember working with this at all, but if you hold down the Alt key, it zooms in. If you roll the mouse wheel, and then to move around, you can hold the center mouse button, or you can hold the space bar and left click and drag. I don't know. Not everybody has a mouse wheel. I think the new Mac one doesn't have one or something.
Oh, I have a mouse wheel.
Okay, yeah, thank God. See, so teardrop. There's
Yeah,
a
that thing.
parametric shape, custom shape.
Or a mouse ball. That's what I have.
Okay, rock on. All right. Yeah, for some reason this just does. We're just gonna do it the old-fashioned way because I know that there's some other shapes in here. Parametric shapes. I don't want to do that. They have custom shapes, and this is where you do. This might come up with some here or not. I was doing emojis. Leave it to them to just do emojis. Um, there's a heart, I suppose. It might work. Yeah, I don't like this. Like I said, I'm not crazy about the software, but
Yeah, I gave up on doing the actual shape. I just printed the thing and put it on the.
well, yeah. I mean, if you're just going to do stuff like
But the problem was I couldn't get it in the middle. I had to like try to
I
put it
got
on
you.
the
See,
back and use a pin and
oh,
try to
see,
get
that's a
it
pain in the
centered.
ass. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, well, that's how you do that. I guess you just click on the shape you want, and you click out here in the space somewhere and tell how big you want it to be. So that helped out. So yeah, you're going to take your ruler and measure your physical thing. If you're not going to do a scan, I'm just going to take your ruler and just measure like across your heart or up and down on your heart and get some dimensions.
And I think it's 1.3 by 1.3.
Okay, so if I went back, I'm going to go to delete the shape. I'm going to go back to the shape tool down here. I'm going to click the heart. You said 1.5?
Yeah, that's probably about. It's between one and a half, 1.2 or 1.3.
Okay, I'll do 1.3 by 1.3, I suppose. About right. Okay, so Jim, with this, like I said, I like to do it a little bit bigger. Let me double check that this software does this. That's the thing. Like I said, I'm so used to my other one. I could just go to I could just go and tell it.
Well, I don't mind paying for something as long as it works. Like I pay for Canva.
Yeah, see, I mean, people love their Canva. I'm not a fan. I'm just not a fan at all. But like I said, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just I find it very cumbersome and limiting to me. But that's just me. So, I need the view. Sorry, I just gotta get to the view that I need for the properties. I got properties up. Where are you at? Ah, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna see if it'll let me do plus zero point 0.5. Yeah. Okay. I kept the aspect ratio, so that's fine. So all I did there was I went into window and I made sure that properties was checked, so that when I click on the shape, I've got this little menu here with properties, and right here I've got my width and my height. So I just made it a half inch bigger, and what that does is it adds a quarter inch on either side and top and bottom. So that way I get my printout and then I can set the heart on top of there and I can measure a quarter inch from the top and a quarter inch from the bottom to the edge of the designs. If you happen to have a white design, normally what I'll do is I'll put a faint outline there, and that way it's not going to be anywhere near your blank. but it allows you to get, if you get that 1/4 inch on all sides, then as long as you're centered up that way, you can nail it every single time. And if you have something that, say like an ornament or like a round earring, I'll mark with a pencil on the paper above the print like what up is on the design, so that way when I'm going to line up my blank, that I know that I've got it facing up to that hole where the where the hardware goes.
Okay.
So, but anyways, you can two ways. I mean, I don't know what design you've got. Is it something you bought or something you made in Procreate or something? I don't know.
No, I just bought the actual earrings on Amazon, and I'm just trying to figure out how to size them.
Okay. So yeah,
Like I said, all I've been doing is just making it a big square, but the problem is I can't get it in the middle.
Yeah, I got you. So, I mean, if I'm trying to give a good example here, but if you go to File and Open in Place right here,
Hmm.
and you can find somewhere on your computer where you've got, your pictures or whatever. Let me see if I can find something that's gonna work. So I've got the Devil Girl here. So she's obviously way too large. I'm gonna zoom out and scale her down quite a lot. So now what I'm gonna do with her selected, you see in the layers panel over here where it's selected?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's her, and then underneath it is that shape. So just make sure that your shape is below your picture, just on this layers panel here, and if it's not, you just drag them around, right? So I'm going to right click on the Devil Girl and just clipping mask. And so now she's stuck to that. Now what I want to do, since I did my 1/2 inch a little bit bigger, I don't want anything that's going to be important to be on those edges. So I'm going to take her and just sort of move her around and resize her and put her like dead where I want her to be. And if that's too large, whatever, I'll do this. And I'll get her like sort of where all the important stuff is, like if you can imagine like a 1/4 inch all the way around. And you can make another shape if you want to that's the actual size, and then make a copy, to sort of keep bringing it in and out. These little eyeballs here will, turn a layer on and off. So essentially all I would have done is just made a copy of that layer and then made it smaller, or vice versa. Make a copy before you size it up a 1/2 inch. So if I were to right now, if I were to duplicate this layer,
How do you scan something onto this?
you can. What you would do is you would scan it on your computer, and then I would go like this. I would go the same thing. I would open and place. Let's see, where do I keep mine? I've got one in a Dropbox somewhere. If I open up, so yeah, here's probably the one that I used in the example, and that's just going to pop in here. So now that I've got these, and what you just have to do is, since you're not, instead of doing all that math and all that crap, what you can do is just literally bring in a rectangle and say, okay, there's my rectangle. And now in the physical world, grab your ruler and your rectangle and see how big this. So this says it's 1 3/4 by 2 1/4 about. So the height. So if I know this to be like, okay, I measured it and it's 2 inches high, then I'll put that. And you can turn off the keep aspect ratio if you need to adjust the width and the height separately. And so say it's 1 1/2 inches wide. And so now that's my template. Now, if it doesn't match up with this thing in the real world, that kind of sucks. But what you can do is you can just go to this picture back here. I'll zoom out with and then just sort of like, you just have to sort of size it around like that, and until it matches, sort of. Just drag it around. That'll give you a better idea. So that way, if it's an odd shape, like like with this circle, and you have this little cutout, you can actually shape these. Like if you make a circle with the circle tool, this is how Boolean operations work. I don't know if you use a Cricut or anything.
No, I just have sublimation.
Okay, so like if you've got these tools over here are what like they're vectors, which is just literally math. It's nothing to do with pixels like the dots and stuff. This is just some points and the computer telling how far the distance is between those points. But you can manipulate them in certain ways by like say, oh, I've got this circle now. If I make a rectangle, and I can go up here to fill and change it to another color so you can see it a little better. Now in the when I go to the move tool always does your selections, and so I can select these two together. You can do it over here, you can do it in the layers panel. And with them both selected, the one that's on top is going to I can either join these two together to make a super shape, and how you do that is you go to layer and then combine shapes. Now unite, what it does is it does just that. It turns this is now one shape. So it moves together and it reacts together, and if I were to clip that girl's picture on there, it's going to clip onto this, and you'll see it just like you did on the heart. But I hit Control Z to go back, and then if you go to combine shapes and do subtract, it's going to cut the top piece out of the bottom piece, and so now we have Pac-Man. You just have to start thinking about what shapes do to each other and where they overlap. You can make some pretty interesting shapes by doing like this one does, just where those two shapes intersect, and it sort of showed you those grids. And so now if I wanted that shape like a pizza pie or a slice of pizza, then I would put those two shapes over and say I want to keep just the part where they overlap. And then the other one does, it'll keep this outside piece and this outside piece and delete the middle, which is called, I don't know what they call it in here. Sorry if I'm going way too fast. That's called exclude, and that does just that. It breaks that up into everything that wasn't touching is saved and the rest is deleted. So. But yeah, so what I would do with an teardrop if I didn't have one is I would take a circle and then add like I think I put that in that video. But you would take like that and you would do a custom shape. And well, now it's doing a heart. I have to go back to find my triangle. This is where a little more advanced tools get in. You can do the pen tool and make your own shapes, but I don't like this one, but it's gonna have to be what it is. Yeah, that sucks. I'm just gonna make one. The pen tool. So, and then I would take this guy.
Hey, maybe the bottom of the heart if you turn it around.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, you just go if you go to the edges of these boxes, you'll see it turn into a little icon that spins. And if you hold down the shift key, it'll sort of lock it to certain angles. That's pretty much true with a lot of things. If I'm moving a shape, say to the right, and I don't want it to wiggle up and down, if you hold down the left key, it'll sort of constrain it to just go in one direction, or the control key and the software shift key. Yeah. But yeah, either one of those would work. The problem is I don't know in this software anymore that well about the convert points. Again, why I like my other software a little better. Let me just pop in there for a second just to show you the same sort of operation I would do over here. This one just has shapes here, which I love, teardrop, and there it is. And I can just go and click another color. And a lot of this is just because I'm better at this software, I suppose. You know what I mean? But I just find it a little easier to use. And then they have tools like you can go and just round the corners off, and you've got this little deal here. This little, you can grab it. You can change the shape of things very easily. You know what I mean? It's just, and what I like as well is once you get one of these that's sized, then you can
you
go.
round the corner off of the teardrop?
You can go. Once I turn it convert, there's a tool right here called the corner tool. I can hit the C key, and when I grab one of these corners, it'll. So once you get done and get it to where you like it, then you can go bake appearance, and what it'll do is it'll turn that back into nodes. But the cool thing about these is once you've got nodes, you can change individual lines and just really stretch. These are called like Bezier handles, and you can do almost anything with these things. It's really almost like sketching. And you can make your own shapes by doing things like this, and you can go back on like, oh, I don't like that line. You can sort of move it around a little bit and change these curves as you want them, and then go in and put a stroke on them, that kind of thing. It's just like I said, I'm making it look easy, and I know that it's not necessarily. It's just this software to me makes a little more sense. I said it's fully functional for 30 days, and then what I do, like, again, if you take, say, like, this is my template for something weird, I can go into this assets panel and say I want to add from that selection, and so now it's here, and I can just pull one out whenever I want to, ready to go. And any document I'm in, if I go and make a new document, they're still here, and I can just pull it in whenever I want to. Hold down the control key and make copies and put. It's just very easy. I don't know. It's just one of those things. I like it a little bit better, but again, I'm just because I'm sort of versed in this software. The Photopea is all right as long as your internet connection is really strong. Inkscape is good, and I still use Inkscape, and it's got its uses. I mean, some really great uses. For example, you might want to take a look at it, especially if you don't want to pay for something. But I know you say you don't mind paying, but like if I say teardrop outline or silhouette or blah 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 blah, whatever you want to, you can
Yeah,
go.
I bought templates online, but they're the wrong type.
Okay, well you can just right click on this and go hi, and go into Inkscape and paste it. And so this is just like a raster image now, and you want it to be like no background and be an SVG that you can control. And so this has a thing in it called trace bitmap, and you literally just play with this slider until it looks like, if you go too far it turns black, but it'll just sort of play with the slider until it looks nice and solid. Hit apply, and now this is an SVG that's editable, and you can go and take the nodes and play with it and resize it. And the good thing about vectors like this, turning, it's like, so this is a raster, and you see how blurry it gets, and you get all that nasty stuff. A lot of people
Yeah.
get this on their sublimation prints because they right click images and try to print them, and it looks like butt, and they steal stuff off of websites and stuff. But this is a vector image, and there's no pixelation whatsoever. You never get that because there's no pixels there. This is literally just these dots. And so you can print this on the moon and it'll still look as good as it does on a quarter because
Oh wow.
it's got no sides. That's the difference between. The problem is, though, is that there's a lot of dirty people out there, and on Etsy they will sell you something that they're calling. Let's stop this for a minute.